Hey everyone, welcome back to AI Money Mentor. Today we're diving into something that might feel a little uncomfortable, but could completely transform your financial future. Before we start, I want to make one thing clear. This video isn't about judging anyone's situation. I grew up watching my single mom work 3 jobs just to keep food on the table. Financial struggle isn't about character flaws, it's often about habits and knowledge that nobody ever taught us. Today, we're examining 10 financial habits that keep people trapped in cycles of poverty, habits the wealthy actively avoid. This isn't about shaming, it's about awareness, because once you recognize these patterns, you can start breaking them. Let's get into it. The first habit is living paycheck to paycheck without any plan to escape this cycle. I remember the constant anxiety of checking my bank balance, wondering if I could make it to the next payday. Maybe you're feeling that same knot in your stomach right now. Here's the truth. Wealthy people view money as a tool that should work for them. They typically follow the 50-30-20 rule or something similar, allocating 50% to needs, 30% to wants, and 20% to savings and investments. Even when I was making barely above minimum wage, I started putting away just $5 a week. It wasn't much, but it created a psychological shift from I spend everything I make to I'm building something for my future. That tiny habit was the first step toward breaking the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. What's one small amount you could automatically transfer to savings each week, even if it's just $1 to start? The second habit is emotional spending. When we're stressed, sad, or even celebrating, many of us turn to spending as a way to feel better. I'll never forget spending my entire first bonus check on electronics I didn't need because I felt I deserved it after a tough project. That temporary high faded quickly, but the credit card debt stuck around much longer. Wealthy individuals tend to separate emotions from financial decisions. They give themselves space between the impulse and the purchase. They ask, will this matter to me in a year? Is this aligned with my values and goals? Next time you feel that urge to make an unplanned purchase, try the 24-hour rule. Wait a full day before buying anything non-essential over $50. You might be surprised how many must-haves become actually, I'm good after a good night's sleep. What's the last emotional purchase you made that you later regretted? Habit number 3, treating consumer debt as a normal part of life. I used to think everyone had credit card debt, it was just how adults lived, right? I'd buy things I couldn't afford, telling myself I'd deal with it later. But that high-interest debt kept me working just to make minimum payments, creating a prison I built myself. Wealthy people use debt strategically, for assets that appreciate or generate income, like real estate or education. They rarely finance depreciating assets like electronics or vacations. Here's what changed for me. I wrote down the total interest I was paying each month across all my cards. Seeing that number money I was throwing away was a wake-up call. I started attacking my highest interest debt first, and each card I paid off felt like breaking a chain. Take a moment today to calculate how much interest you're paying monthly on consumer debt. That number is the cost of your financial freedom. The fourth habit is failing to invest in skills that increase your earning potential. When I was struggling financially, the last thing I thought I could afford was books, courses, or time spent learning. It seemed like a luxury. But wealthy people consistently invest in their knowledge and abilities. They know that developing marketable skills is the highest return investment possible. The turning point for me was when I started dedicating just 30 minutes each morning to learning about digital marketing through free YouTube videos. 6 months later, I landed a side gig that paid more per hour than my main job. Within a year, it became my career. Today, ask yourself, what skill could I develop that would make me more valuable in the marketplace? Then find one free resource to start learning it. The internet has democratized education. Take advantage of it. The fifth habit is avoiding conversations about money because they feel uncomfortable. Growing up, money discussions in my household meant arguments and stress. So I developed a habit of avoiding the topic entirely, which meant I never learned healthy financial behaviors. Wealthy people talk about money, they ask questions, share strategies, and aren't afraid to admit what they don't know. They seek mentors and build relationships with people who can expand their financial knowledge. I remember how nervous I was to ask a successful friend about investing, but that one awkward conversation led to him introducing me to his financial advisor, who helped me set up my first investment account. Challenge yourself to have one open conversation about money this week with a friend, family member, or colleague you admire. You might be surprised by how willing people are to share what they've learned. Habit number 6 is making decisions based only on short-term outcomes. When money is tight, it's natural to focus on survival, this week, this month. But this mindset leads to choices that cost more in the long run, like buying cheaper items that wear out quickly or putting off preventative healthcare. Wealthy individuals think in terms of decades, not days. They consider the future impact of today's decisions. I used to buy the cheapest work shoes I could find, replacing them every few months when they fell apart. When I finally invested in one quality pair, they lasted years, costing me far less over time. This small example taught me a bigger lesson about long-term thinking. Where in your life could taking the slightly harder path today lead to much better results tomorrow? The 7th habit is living without clear financial goals. Without targets, money tends to slip through our fingers. We work hard but never seem to make progress because we haven't defined what progress looks like. Wealthy people set specific, measurable financial goals with deadlines. They know exactly what they're working toward and track their progress. I remember setting my first real financial goal, saving $5,000 for an emergency fund within 1 year. Having that number and deadline completely changed how I viewed my spending. Every dollar had a job, and watching that savings account grow became more satisfying than any impulse purchase. Today, write down one financial goal you want to achieve in the next 12 months. Be specific about the amount and deadline, then break it down into monthly targets. That clarity will become your financial compass. Habit number 8 is what I call the lottery mindset, hoping for a financial windfall instead of building wealth consistently. I used to daydream about inheritance, lawsuits, or game shows changing my financial situation overnight. This fantasy kept me from taking the small, consistent actions that actually build wealth. Wealthy people understand that sustainable wealth comes from regular habits, saving, investing, and growing income steadily over time. They focus on what they can control. My perspective shifted when I calculated how much I'd have if I invested just $100 monthly with average market returns. The power of compound interest over decades was mind-blowing and completely within my control, unlike winning the lottery. Instead of buying lottery tickets this month, what if you put that same money into an investment account? Start building your future on purpose, not chance. The 9th habit is isolating yourself from people who are financially successful, whether from shame, envy, or just different interests. Many people struggling financially don't have relationships with wealthy individuals. This means they miss out on the mindsets, habits, and opportunities that come from these connections. Wealthy people typically build diverse networks that include those who are more financially successful than themselves. I was intimidated to join a business networking group because I felt I didn't belong, but forcing myself to attend those meetings exposed me to different thinking and opportunities I never would have found in my usual circles. Consider one way you could expand your network to include people with the financial success you aspire to achieve. The final habit is adopting a victim mentality about finances. When I was struggling, I had endless explanations for why my situation wasn't my fault: the economy, my background, bad luck. While some factors genuinely are beyond our control, this mindset left me feeling powerless. Wealthy people take radical responsibility for their financial situation. They acknowledge external challenges but focus on what they can control. The day I stopped blaming circumstances and started asking, what can I do differently, was the day my financial journey truly began. What story are you telling yourself about your financial situation? Is that story empowering you to make changes or keeping you stuck? These 10 habits aren't changed overnight. Financial transformation is a journey, one I'm still on myself. Start by picking just one habit from this list to work on this week. Small, consistent changes compound just like interest. Remember, your current financial situation is a reflection of past habits, not your worth or potential. By gradually replacing these limiting patterns with empowering ones, you're not just changing your bank account, you're changing your life. If this video helped you, please hit like and subscribe for more practical financial wisdom. Drop a comment letting me know which habit you're tackling first. Let's build wealth together, one habit at a time.